talk about this in the next module. You will see it's all about user inputs, and it's probably one of the best module because this is where your applications start to take life. Okay, you have buttons, your screen change, and you create a real app. So for now, I will just show you one widget, which is called the icon button. So we will go inside the widget 3, and inside the widget 3, we will go inside the app bar, and we will replace the trailing, or is it? I think it's actions. Yeah. Inside the actions, we will put one widget called the icon button. Okay? Inside the onPress, you will delete and you will press Control Space, and you will select the second one, the empty function, and then the icon will be icon, and then you say icons dot light mode maybe. Let's try this. So we have light mode, we put all our commas, and now we have this. So your goal is when you press this little button, it change for either the dark mode or the white mode. And if you want to go even further than that, you can also change the icon for dark mode, like this. So every time you press, this icon change and also the entire screen. All right. If you don't know how to do this, then you can watch the next video. I will give you the entire solution. Otherwise, you can try to do it by yourself. Anyway, it's up to you. You decide, and I see you in the next one for the solution. Bye. Okay, so this challenge might be pretty tough for you. So if you were not able to do it, just watch the solution and then try to do it by yourself after. And you will see at one point, you will be able to do it by yourself, and you will see how you progress with Flutter. All right, so let's start right now. I will show you the solution for this. So we were inside the notifier and we created the isDark mode notifier. Let's use this inside the widget 3 first. So I will go over the icon. I will cut this and I will say value listenable builder. The value listenable is the isDark mode notifier. And the builder, we will press Control Space and select the second one. Then we will be able to return the thing we had previously, the icon dark mode. And let's put the semicolon, refactor, and save. This is what you should have. Okay, so nothing has changed yet, but we have access to the isDark mode value. So I will copy this, I will change the name, and now we will use this information in order to change the icon. So we can go inside the icon and we can say isDark mode. If it's the case, then display the icon dark mode. Otherwise, display icons.light mode. Light mode. And let's save. So now when I press on it, nothing happened because we need to also create some sort of button. So I think it was the icon button on press. On the onPress, what we'll do is we will say the isDark mode notifier.value is now equal to the invert of what it was. So you can say, you can take this again and you can say this will be the invert, like this. So yeah, this was maybe not really easy to see coming, but if you have already worked with some programming, you were probably able to figure out. Anyway, so let's do this. And now if we refresh, you will see that when we click on it, it does change the icon. So let's do the same thing, but for the light mode inside the main. We will go over the team data. I will select all of this. I will cut it. And what I will say value, listen, I'm not even sure if I will be able to put this inside the theme. No, we absolutely require something else. So what we'll do is we will wrap the entire material app. So I will say this, I will cut it, and I will say value listenable builder, and then it will be isDark mode notifier. Then the builder Control Space, you select the second one, and then you put a return, and you paste the material app. Great, now we have access to the isDark mode. I will copy this and rename this for isDark mode, and then we can finally use this inside and say isDark mode, then brightness.dark, otherwise brightness.light. So let's refresh the screen. And now we have this. So when we press on this, we have the light mode and the dark mode. So maybe we could reverse this logic. We can go inside the widget 3 and we can say light mode, and then we can say dark mode. and maybe it will make more sense. So when we press on the sunshine, it goes to white mode and dark mode. So this is how we use the is or the value notifier inside Flutter. So we have done a second exercise. If you were not able to do it yourself, it's really understandable because this was kind of tough. Was pretty tough, even though. So try to do it again. Try to do it by yourself. Once you're able to do it by yourself, you really get it. And then you can move to the next step. That's about it. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so now let's talk about user inputs. This will be all the widget that the user can interact with. By example, an icon button, or a button, or a text field where you enter your email, by example. So we will learn about this, and the first one is the text field widget. So let's go inside the profile page, and we can close all the other tabs, and we can just go inside profile page. Perfect. For this one, we will replace the center widget. We will delete this, and we will write a column widget instead. After this, inside, you will press Ctrl Space to see all the arguments. You will use the children, and inside the list of children, we will write a text field widget. So you can put your comma, save, and this is what we have. So you can enter text, and that's it. So how do we use this information, and how do we modify this to make it look good? So first thing first, we will make it look good. We will say, by example, decoration, and this will take an input decoration. Inside this one, we'll use the border, okay? And in the border, you can see that we will need to put some input border, but it's better to use instead the outlined input border, okay? Because you will see why once again, if I put my comma and I save, this is how it looks. So you see it's a little bit better, I think, in my opinion. But if you don't want this one, you can put the input border, the underline input border. This one was the previous one. Anyway, so we'll put the outline input border, and then what you could do is you could put a padding around the column. So refactor, and then wrap with a padding. Okay? So now maybe you can put 20 and save. So this is your text field. But how can you access the data and display it in the screen? So for this, what we will do is we will put a stateful widget. So I will say refactor, and I will say stateful widget. Okay? So we will use the set state inside. We don't need the data anywhere else. So that's fine. So inside the text field, right after, we will put a text widget displaying the information. So how do we display this? First, we will need to create a controller for the text field. So for this, I will go right over the override, and I will say text editing controller. We'll call this one a simple controller, and we will define it as a text editing controller. Don't forget to put your semicolon. And inside your text field, you will put a controller argument, this one, and then you will put your controller inside, the thing we just created. All right, so now we have access to the controller, which can display the text inside, like this. All right, so now when we write the text and we press enter, and then if we restart this hot reload, we see the text inside. Okay, but how can we reload it from the screen directly? So what you can do is you can say you have multiple options, but on one of them is completed, on editing completed. All right, so this will return a function, and inside when it's completed, then what you can say set state, and you can say that the value, or you just can say set state. Set state should work and do the job. So let's try it. I will say restart, and I will go inside profile, and I will write something, and I will press enter. And here you go, you have the thing inside. We have refreshed the screen with the text controller, the text. So it does work. So this is how you create a text field. So that's about it, and I see you next one. Bye. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is how to create a checkbox. So right after the text, we will create a widget checkbox. Inside this one, we need to put a value, which will be true or false. So we will create one. We will say Boolean is checked is equal to false. Let's put false when we start. And then what we can do is we can replace this for is checked. Great. For the unchanged, you will delete and you will press Control Space and you will have two options. So we will select the second one, and then what you will say is first the value what it is. It is a Boolean question mark. So let's say Boolean question mark. It's because it can be null. And then what you will say is you will say we have the value, let's set state, and then inside we'll say is checked is equal to this value. Right? But now we have a problem because this value can be null. So what we'll do is we will replace our Boolean for a nullable Boolean. Right? So now this should work. If we press on it, we have a checkbox. That's great. So now let's create another checkbox, but this one will be a list tile. So let's create a checkbox list tile. Great. The value will be the same, so is checked. I will paste it. And the unchanged will be the same. So I will copy the function, this thing, and paste it right there. Great. So it's the same thing, but the list tile can have a title. So the title, you can put a text widget and write click me. All right, so this was your list tile checkbox. But also what you can do with the checkbox is you can put it as a true state. So we will say true state, and then we will say true. This means that it can have three values. So let me show you. If we click on it now, oops, we can see that we have some sort of error. I will restart the screen and let's see. I think it is because of the checkbox. I need to put this one also as a true state and say true. All right, so now if we go inside profile and we click on it, we have clicked, we have nothing, and we have unselected. So we have true state. So that's about it for the checkbox. I will put all my commas like this, and I'm ready for the next video. So that's about it. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so one thing we need to talk about is the arrow function. Let me show you. You see inside the text field, we have a set state. So what we'll do is we will remove this, and instead we will use the arrow function. So let me show you. Usually we use this one, but this one allows us to put multiple functions inside. But the arrow function will tell us, okay, do only one thing after, and it is this, the set state. So if you want, you could create something like this, and it will do the same thing. Because when you complete and you press enter, you see that we have the screen, the text on the screen. So it does work. So the set state is the only thing that you want. But if you want to print something also, you cannot use this thing. Instead, you will need to come back to what you had previously, and then you can put two things inside. The print function, set state has been clicked or whatever. You get it? And then you put your semicolon and it will work. So that's the difference between the empty function normal or the arrow function. That's about it, and I see you in the next one. Bye. So let's talk about the switch widget. So it will be pretty much the same thing as the checkbox. We will do it right after the checkbox list style, and we will say switch. So you see, first we need a value. So we'll go up and we'll create a Boolean, but this one will not be nullable, just a Boolean, and we will call it is switched is equal to false when we start. So let's use this Boolean inside the value. After this, we will change the unchanged and we'll say Control Space and we'll select this one. Okay? After, inside what we need to do is we need to use a set state and we need to redefine the value is switch to the new value. And this new value should be a simple Boolean. So it's better to just define the type. Okay, so we should be able to switch this thing, which is really cool. The next thing we will do is put a comma and put a switch list style, like this. And the value will be the same. We'll use the is switch. And for the unchanged, we will copy the entire function. Copy and paste it inside, put your comma, format document, and save. Great. The only thing we need is now a title. So I will copy the one from the checkbox style and I will paste it inside the switch list style. So now we will write switch me instead. All right. So this is what we created. You will see in the next video, I will show you something pretty cool. I don't want to talk about it right now. I see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so let's talk about the dot adaptive. This one is pretty cool because it will target the current phone and it will display the widget in an iOS style or Android style. So right now this is Android style, but I am using an iPhone. So it could be nice to have the visual of the iPhone. So we will go over the switch list style and I will say dot adaptive. And if we save, you will see that now the icon is automatically adapted to the current phone, which is an iOS. All right. And you can do this for the switch also, dot adaptive. And you can do this for the checkbox list style in the checkbox. So let's save. And now you can see that all of these are now iOS looking, which is pretty cool. So it's up to you if you want to use the adaptive inside your app. I think it's cool. And I just want to tell you that it's not all the widgets that are able to use the adaptive. It's just a couple of them. And yeah, that's about it. If you don't see the dot adaptive after your widget, it's probably because it doesn't exist. So that's about it. See you in the next one. Bye. The next widget we will talk about is called the slider. And the slider, we will put it right after the switch list style. So don't forget to put your comma. And I will say slider like this. And then the value will be a double. So I will go on the top and I will go and write double. Let's call this one the slider value is equal to, let's put 0.0 when we start. Great. So let's take this information and put it inside the value. Now we need to change this. I will press Control space and the value will do something. Okay, so we will set state and inside we will say that the slider value is now equal to the value that we receive from this function. We can also define the type. We can also say this is a double, just to make it like more visual. And now if we go inside profile, you will see that we can use the slider. And it is currently not using the dot adaptive, so we can use the dot adaptive. And now you see more iOS style. But it's interesting to see the value. So what we'll do is we will print the data, so which would be the value, put the semicolon, and open the terminal. So now you see that when we slide, we go from 0 to 1. But we can also change this. We can change the max to be 100 or 10.0. Let's save. And now you can see that it goes from 0 to 10. But the thing is, we don't have like fixed numbers. What we can do is we can create a divider or division, and we can say that we will have 10 divisions. And if you save, you'll see that now we have only chunks of like numbers, like 10, 6, 5, and stuff like that. So this is how you use and create a slider. That's about it, and I see you in the next video. Bye. The next thing I want to show you is how to create a button out of any widget. So by example, if we display an image, we will be able to make this image clickable. But the thing is, before I'm able to show you this, I need to show you something else, which is a widget that the user can scroll through. So let's start by adding the image. So if you remember, it was using image.asset, and then inside you can put the asset of the image. It was asset/image/background.jpg in my case. So you will need to find the path inside your asset image, and this was your image. All right. So let's put this. But now if I put like 2 or 3, you will see that we have a problem with the height of the screen. We are not able to scroll. So we need to create a widget which allows us to scroll through the page. And this is called the single child scroll view. So let's go over the padding. I will right click and I will say refactor, wrap with a widget, and then you will use the single child scroll view and save. Now your screen is now scrollable, which is really cool. All right, so the next step for us will be to first delete one image, and we need to make this image clickable and do something. By example, when we click on it, maybe to change this value or anything. So I will show you how to do this in the next video. Bye. Okay, so how do we make anything clickable? So for this, you will need to wrap, by example, an image asset. I will right click and will say refactor, and I will say wrap with a widget. The widget I will use will be the gesture detector. All right, you will put your comma also at the end, save. So now you see better. Now this is clickable. Let me show you. Inside the arguments, you have something called the onTap. So this will trigger a function, which you can use this one. And what we'll do is we'll say print, and we'll say image selected or anything. Put your semicolon, save, and now let's open the terminal, Control G, like this, and use the debug console. And now when I click on it, you can see image selected. So every time I click, I have another count. Great. So this is how you make anything clickable. But I want to show you another way to do it. And the other way will also allow you to make it look different. So I will show you everything in the next video. That's about it. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so there is another way to make anything clickable, and it's with the Inkwell widget. And I need to show you both ways because there is a little difference between both of them. First thing first, we need to replace the image asset with a container. So I will be able to show you what is the difference. The height of the container, let's put 200, and let's put the width to double.infinity, which is all the width of the screen. The next thing we will do is we'll change the color, and we will use colors.white 12, just to create some sort of, you can see if I go inside profile, some sort of color different from the background. All right, so now when we click on it, we should see inside the terminal the image selected, this thing. Perfect. So this container is clickable, but nothing happened on the screen when you press on it. So let's replace this with the Inkwell widget and save. Now you will see that when you press on it, you have some sort of splash effect, which is pretty cool. So it depends of what you need. If you don't want any splash effect, then use the gesture detector. After this, inside the Inkwell, you can change the splash color for colors.teal if you prefer. And let's save. Now you see that we have some sort of teal. And I think this widget is kind of cool. So that's why I need to show you both different, the Inkwell and the gesture detector. That's about it, and I see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Okay, so all of this is pretty cool, but what we want usually inside an app is a simple classic button. And this is what we will talk about in this video. So first, for the Inkwell, I will change the container for 50 just to make it smaller. Perfect, it's still clickable. But what we'll do after this Inkwell is we will use a elevated button. Oops. Elevated button like this. We will change the onPress for an empty function. This. And then the child, what we'll put is, we will say a text. And inside the text, we will say, click me. Click me like this. And put all your commas, save and format document. There we go. There we go. So this is what you should have after. Okay, so we have a button, which is a simple elevated button. After this, what do we want is, we want to be able to change the style of any buttons. So for this, what you will need to do is you will say style, and then you will say, you will repeat the name of the widget, so elevated button, dot style from. And now you're able to change the style. So if you want to change the first color, it will either be primary or background color. So let's try with color. We have the background color. So this should work. Let's put colors.teal. Let's save. So that's cool. But we can change you can change also the color of the text by using the foreground color, probably. Foreground color, colors.white. So now you can see better the text. But you don't always need to change the style because Flutter offers like 4 different types of buttons. All right. So what we'll do is we will create another one, or I will just copy this one and I will paste it right under. So what you will need to do is I will remove the style so you can see just the button. This is a normal elevated button. This is the one we modified. After this, we can create another one under. But this one will be the filled button. So now you see the difference between the elevated and the filled button. There is another one also, which is called the text button. And this is the text button. So maybe you wonder, okay, but how do I change the style of one fill button? You do the same thing. You use the style, and then you say filled button dot style from, like this. And then you can change the style, just like you did in this one. All right, so we will delete this, and I want to show you one last button, which is this one. We have the outlined button, which will create some sort of outline around it. But there is also other kind of buttons. Let's talk about them right now. We have the close button, like this. Let's save. I wonder what this does. Nothing, but you can create a function inside. And I think we have the back button also, maybe. And the back button is just like this. And you can change what you do inside, the unpressed. So that's about it. That's about buttons. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so one last widget I need to show you before we finish this module is called the drop-down button. You will see this one is pretty useful when you have a list of selectable items. I will create this one right over the text field so we can see it at the top, and it will be the drop-down button. Great. The items for this one will be a list of drop-down menu items. So we will create a list and we'll use the drop-down menu item. This one. The child will be a simple text widget, and we will call this the element 1. I will put all the commas like this. Format document, we'll put more commas, format document, and the unchanged will be an empty function. This. Great. So this is what you should have for the drop-down right now. And you can see that it has one element inside and one element in selected. So let's change this. We will copy this drop-down menu item. We will create another one, and we will call this the element 2, and let's do a third one, element 3. Element 3. Perfect. So I will restart the application. I will go in profile, and now we have some sort of problem. We will fix this right now. Inside the drop-down menu item, you will select value, and this one will be E1, and we'll create other value for drop-downs. This one, this will be E2, and this will be E3. Great. Next thing you need to do is we need to create a variable for the value of the drop-down button. This one will be a string. It will be from this one. It will be a string nullable. Right? So let's create one string nullable, and let's call this the menu item, and say that we can keep this null when we start. Great. So let's copy this and put it inside. Let's save and restart the application. So now if we go inside profile, you see that we have a drop-down which have inside the element 1, element 2, and element 3. And to make them selectable, you will need to go inside the unchanged. The value will be a string like this, string question mark. So we will put the type, and inside we will say set state, and we will say that the menu item is equal to the value. So now when we click and select element 2, it's now element 2, element 3, element 1. So that's pretty cool. Another thing you can do is, you can see that right now we don't have any default value. If you want to have select element 1 selected by default, you can do it by putting this as E1, because this is the same key as this value. All right? So we can restart, and you will see that the element 1 is already selected. Great. So this is how you create a drop-down menu item. You have all the tools in order to create pretty much any user input inside your application at this point. So let's keep going to build a real application in the next module. That's it. See you in the next one. Bye. The next thing you need to learn with Flutter is how to navigate through different pages. Currently, we are only using the bottom navigation bar, but it could be fun to click this button and go through another page, right? So what we will do is we will take all this garbage and we will put it inside another page, which we will call settings. we'll be able to access it from a button that we'll put in the app bar. All right, so let's do this. We will first convert the profile page for something called settings page. All right, next we will rename this. We will say this is now called settings. And we can create another profile page. I will say new file, profile page.dart. We can copy the home page, what is inside. We can paste it inside profile page and just rename this for profile page and rename also this for profile page. Great. So now you have 3 of them renamed. After this, we will go back inside the widget 3 and we will say that we need a quick fix and we want to import the profile page. This thing. We can delete the old settings reference. Great. So now if we refresh, we should be able to see the profile in the home page. Now we need to access this setting page. But how do you do this? Let's go inside the widget 3 and inside this one, we have the actions. So right under the icon button, you will say another icon button. This one will have an onPress. The onPress will have this, an empty function. And the icon will have an icons.settings. Oops, settings. Great. Now let's put all the commas and save. So now we have a button, settings, at the top corner. We need to use this by going to the navigation or navigator dot push. And we need to push another page from this button. So we will push another page over this one. What we'll do is we need a route. For this, you will always use the material page route. And inside, you will put the builder. So the builder will be control space, and it will be a context that returns something. The something that we return will be the setting page. All right. So I know this was a lot of things. Then you need to put your semicolon right there, and your comma, and save. Great. So there was a lot of things, but at the end, it's pretty simple. We have an icon button. Then inside, we have a non-press. When we press on it, we use the navigator. We use the navigator.push because we want to push another page over this one. After this, we use the material page route in order to display the setting page. So if we restart the application, now we probably will have an error if we go inside the settings. And yes, we have. The reason is, let's go inside the setting page. The reason is we start with a single child scroll view, but we need to have a scaffold. We need to have some sort of skeleton for this page. So we will take this entire this entire single child scroll view. I will cut this thing and put a scaffold. Inside the scaffold, we'll have the app bar argument, and inside a title with a text saying that this is the settings page. All right. The next thing we need to do is to put a body for this scaffold. And the body will be what we have copied or cut, which is the single child scroll view. All right. So now let's restart this application, and you will see that the home and profile are fine. And you can go inside the settings to see this setting page with all the scrap inside. That's pretty cool. And you can also see that Flutter will automatically give you a button to come back. All right, inside the app bar. That is pretty cool. If you want to remove this, you can always use the automatically imply leading and say false. All right. If you do this, when you go inside the setting, you will not see the come back button. Okay. So this was how to navigate through Flutter. Let's go back inside again. It's very simple. Navigator, material page route, and then you put your page. That's it. Inside your page, you put the scaffold and you have it. So that's about it for this one. See you in the next video. Bye. So in the last video, we have talked about the navigator.push, but now it's time to talk about the navigator.pop. The pop will just remove the last page. So let's go inside, by example, the setting page. And inside the setting page, as you remember maybe, is you have the automatically imply blah, blah, blah. So we can set this as false. Let's save. So now when we go inside the settings, there is nothing. So let's create this button by ourselves. What we'll do is we'll say leading, and we will use a back button. The back button is just a logo of the back like this. So that's why we use this one. After this, inside, we will use a onPressed. So in the onPressed, we will put a function. And now inside this one, we will use the navigator dot pop, just like this. And inside, you put the context, you put your semicolon, and you save. So now you have created the button to pop back. All right, just heads up, if you put this button inside this page, it will probably not work. So let's do it just to break Flutter, just to see what will happen. Let's do it inside this app bar. And now let's save. You see, you just break Flutter, all right? So just make sure that you have a page previously if you use the pop button. So I will restart the app, and now everything still works. Okay, so we can go back inside the settings, and we can remove the automatically imply leading, because obviously it will not be there because we put one ourselves. All right, so that's it, and I see you in the next one. Bye. So let's talk about the push replacement instead. So let's go back inside so I will close all of them first, and I will open only the widget tree. Okay, so this is where we navigate inside the setting page. Instead of using the push, we will use the push replacement. All right, and now let's restart the application. When we go inside, this will not just push a page over the stack of pages, it will replace the previous page. So now, because we still have the back button that will pop, this will create an error because we have removed the previous page, which was the widget tree and everything. So let's restart the app. And now if you go inside settings, you can remove inside the leading the back button. So we will cut this. I will remove this and the leading also. Now, if you save and you go inside, you will see that Flutter will not put automatically the back button because you are not able to go back. There was no page before. All right. So at this point, you have learned how to use the push replacement. This can be interesting sometime when you have like a login screen and the user login. Once it's logged in, you need to navigate into the home page of the application. It could be interesting in these places. So that's about it. What I will do is I will put back the push, and that's about it, I think. Cancel. Let's save and restart the application just to see if everything works. We still have this, and we can go back. Perfect. So this was the push replacement. That's about it. See you in the next one. Bye. So all the navigation is pretty cool, but you might have a question like, how do I send data from one page to another? Like, yes, you could use the notifiers, but sometimes you just want to send like a title to the other page, like a description page, and that's it. So I will show you how to do this. So instead of going inside the setting page and getting the information from this, I will send the information from the previous page. All right. So for this, you will need to create some sort of arguments to receive. What we will receive instead is the title. So we will say required. We will say that we require this information. Okay. We will say this dot, and it could be title. So let's put the comma, and that's it. After this, we will create the value. So the final. We'll say final. This will be a string title. So when we call this page, we just give it a title, and then we can use this title inside the setting page. So I will use it right there. I will say title. And one thing you have to understand is if you are using a stateful widget, you will need to say widget.title. All right. But if you are using a simple stateless widget, you will not put widget before. You will just put title and it will work. All right. Otherwise, it will not. So just keep this in mind. Anyway, now we have an error inside the widget tree, and it's because we need to put the argument title. And this will be a string, which you will put a simple settings and save. So now, or even we can put settings, cure something else, just so you see the difference. We will go inside the settings, and now you see that the title is settings this thing. Great. So the information is coming from the widget 3, and then we send the information inside the setting page. We handle this information as a title and we use it. Okay? Again, you use widget.title for a stateful and you use just title if you're inside a stateless. Okay? So that's about it. See you in the next one. Bye. For this section, what we'll talk about is clean UI widget. So you want to create an application that look good at the end also, right? So this is what we'll do. We will merge them with the layout widgets and we will create something that look good at the end. Let's start by creating a new file called the welcome page.dart. Okay, this page, first we will import the material, and then this page, the goal will be to have a button, click login or register and go to the home page, the widget 3. All right. We will do this by creating a stateless widget first, which we will call welcome page. And inside we will put a scaffold widget. All right. Let's save this. And now let's go inside the main.dart. And what we'll do inside this, we will remove the widget 3 and put the welcome page. So now when we start the application, let's restart everything. When we start the application and we restart, you will see only a welcome page. The goal is to be able to navigate through this to go inside the widget 3. So let's go inside the welcome page first. And what we'll do inside is we will create a body. So the body will have a column, and inside the column we will have children. Great. Inside this one, we will use the widget I want to show you in this video, which is called the clip or rect. This widget will allow you to create rounded borders for any widget. So in this case, we will use the child, and inside we will put the image we had previously. So the image asset, and inside we will say it was assets/image/background.jpg. So you need to put the path of your image, this one. Yeah, asset, image, background.jpg. Okay, and now let's save, it's right there. We will put the column as the main axis alignment.center. So it goes in the center. And now I want to show you the clip or rect widget. So you will say border radius, and you will say border radius.circular, then you will say 20.0 and save. Now you see how the borders goes rounded, and this look pretty good. So that's good. And after this, we will wrap the column, refactor, wrap with a widget, and it will be a padding because we want to create like maybe 20 padding and it look a little bit better. This is where we will put like the login information. We'll just like write login and we'll have the button login and register, stuff like that. All right. So this was how to use the clip or rect widget. Before we finish this video, I just want to add another button right under. So we will use a filled button. This will use an empty function, and the child will be a text saying, I don't know, login, like this. I will put all the commas, save. And now the only thing we need to do is to add a navigator. So I will go first inside the main.dart in order to remove the unused path, okay? And next we will go inside the widget 3 to copy the navigator.push. So let's copy all of this, Control C, and now we can close all the tabs and just use, so I will say save, and now we will just use the welcome page, okay? Inside this one, we will paste the navigator.push, and we will change this for push replacement. All right, and inside we will return the widget 3, like this. So now let's restart the application entirely and click login. You see that you go inside the widget 3 where you have your entire application. There is no way for you to log out right now, but we will do this later. So let's refresh, and this is what we will keep working on to make it look clean as a welcome page. That's about it. See you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so the next widget I want to show you is called the hero widget. And for this, we will need to create another file inside the widgets, and we'll call this the hero widget. Okay, like this, .dart. After this, you need the import M, so import material, and then we will create a stateless widget, which will be called hero widget. So this is what you will need. Next, what we can do is we will replace the container with this entire image with the rounded corners. So we can go back inside the welcome page. We can cut this clip or rect like this. We cut this and we call instead the hero widget. Okay, you can go back inside the hero widget and we will return the clip or rect. So let's save. Nothing should change right now, but we can wrap this clip or rect with the hero widget. So let's say refactor and wrap with a widget. We will use the hero. One thing you need to put inside the hero is a tag. You need to tag this with a unique value. So we will just say, for this example, the hero 1, all right? But you need to use always a different value for each hero widget. The next thing you can do is we will plug this hero widget first inside this welcome page, but also inside the home page. So let's replace the center with a column, or first a padding. The padding will be agentsets.all and it will be 20.0. And then we put a child. The child will be a column. And then in the column, you will put children. So the widget, and the widget will be the hero widget that we just created. All right, so this was a lot of things, but this overall is what you should have, so you can pause the video if you want. What does the hero widget do? You can see that the hero widget is inside this page, but also inside the home page. Have you seen the transition? So the hero widget will always create some sort of transition for the image or for the widget that is inside, which look pretty cool. So what we could do is we could create inside the profile page. Let's go inside and replace this for a padding again with the agentsets.all 20.0 and then put a child column and then children that will have a widget inside. And the widget will be a list view, a list tile, and the list tile will have a title. The text will be log out. So now we will have at least a log out button. And then what you can put is the untap, put an empty function, and this will log out. In order to log out, we can go inside the welcome page. We can copy this navigator, this thing. I will copy this, and I will put it inside the profile page, inside the list tile, like this. Now the only thing you need to do is replace the widget 3 with the welcome page. And now if you restart the application, you will see that when you click login, it creates some sort of transition between the image. And when you click log out, then you go back. That's it. So this was, so yeah, it's not really visible like that. So maybe it would be better another button, but you get the point, right? When we do the log out, we should do something else. We should also change the value of the notifier. So this notifier selected page index, we should put it back to 0. So we'll say selected notifier dot value, notifier dot value is equal to 0. So we restart this. So let's restart the application. When we click login, we click profile, we click log out, and then when we click login, you will see the little animation. So that's about it. This is the hero widget. Pretty cool stuff. See you in the next one. Bye. Another widget I want to show you is the snack bar widget. This one is pretty cool, so we need to talk about it. First thing first, what we'll do is we'll go inside the welcome page or inside the hero widget, and I want to change it because it doesn't look like with the theming of our application. So let's change the color of the image for colors the teal. And after this, we will need to change also the blend mode. So the color blend mode dot, and you can use maybe blend mode dot modulate. This one is pretty cool. Or we could use darken. darken, I think, will make more sense for our application. So you just see how it look better like this. And after this, another thing we can do is we could change maybe the title inside or whatever, but we will do this later. Okay, so another thing I want to do is to use this widget, which is called the snack bar. So for the snack bar, we will go inside maybe the settings page, and we will use one button to trigger the snack bar. So if we go inside settings, you see that we have multiple buttons. We will use this one, the first one. Click me, okay? So I will replace this for open snack bar, and we will save. Oh, you see how it's this button instead? So I will instead use it inside the elevated button. I will cut this elevated button. I will put it at the top before the drop down button. And now we can play with it. I will remove the style and I will say this is called open snack bar. Okay, so this is our button. Now let's make it work. I will say show snack bar, as simple as that. So is it show snack bar? I hope. No, show scaffold dot. Oh yeah, it's scaffold messenger. So scaffold messenger dot of context dot show snack bar. This is it. All right. So you need to remember this little thing. It's scaffold messenger dot of context. So you get the context of the current scaffold, and then you will display something on the screen. And the display is the snack bar. So you need to create a widget snack bar like this, and the content will be, I think, just a simple widget. So yeah, you can say text and say snack bar. Okay. After this, you need to put your semicolon and your commas like this, and you can save. Great. So now when you press snack bar, you see we have a snack bar coming from the bottom that will stay there for like 2 seconds. You can change the duration if you want. You can say duration, and you say duration and maybe seconds, 5 seconds. All right. So when you click on it, you have the snack bar. But another thing that is pretty cool is the position of the snack bar. I think it's behavior, but I'm not sure. So we'll try this one. Behavior, I would say snack bar behavior. And I would say dot floating. It is exactly that. So let's click on it. Now you see how it is a floating box, and it just looked better. So this was how to create a snack bar with Flutter. That's about it, and I see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so the snack bar is pretty cool, but another thing that you could be using with Flutter will be an alert dialog. So I will show you how to do this also. We'll copy paste the elevated button, and we will call this instead the open dialog. All right. So it's pretty much the same concept, but instead of using the scaffold messenger of context first, you can right off the bat use the show dialog. All right. And inside you will put a builder. So you will press Control space and you will say context return, and you can just put an alert dialog or about dialog. They are pretty much all the same. So we will just use an about dialog for now. And it is like that. So let's click on it. You see how we open this. So you see that the about dialog will automatically give you all the licenses of your app. So this can be interesting if you need this. Otherwise, we will use the alert dialog. The alert dialog will allow you to customize it more like you want. So if I click on open dialog, you see that nothing appears right now. This is because we need to put some stuff. So first we need to put the content, which for now will just be a text widget saying alert content. And then we need to put also maybe a title, which will be another text saying alert title. And finally, if we try it, you see that we have the alert title and the alert content. But we want to be able to close this thing. So you can create a button, and this will be inside the actions. Or is it inside actions? Let's find out. It is inside the, it is action, or I think it is inside the content action. Yeah, exactly. It's inside the alert dialog. Sorry, I was at the wrong place. So inside the action, you will say, for example, close button or fill button, and you will say, oops, filled button. And inside, you will put an empty function. And after this, the child will be a simple text saying close, right? But you can put any other buttons if you prefer. So this is just that. And inside, in order to close the navigator, in order to close the dialog, you need to use the navigator because this is kind of another page over it, all right? So you use the navigator.pop. As simple as that. And now, if you click on Open Dialog, you have the alert dialog with the content and you can close it. So this is pretty cool. That's about it, and I see you in the next one. Bye. Another widget we need to talk about is called the divider widget. So between these two elevated buttons, I will create one called the divider. All right, like this, and let's save. So you see this is a little line that separates the two widgets. You can also change the color, colors.teal, and also you can change the thickness. The thickness, let's put 5.0. You can also change the end indent. So this is the space at the end that you will have without the divider. So by example, I put 200.0, let's save. You see that this is 200 space that is not used for the divider, right? So this is how to use the divider. You can also use a vertical divider. So I will create a container. I will define a height of 50.0, and then I will use a child and put a vertical divider inside, and then I will save. So you can see that we have another divider, but this one is vertical. It can be used for, by example, inside a row if you want to separate two items. So that's about it. What we'll do is we'll delete the vertical divider, and you can keep just this one with maybe a value of 2 for the thickness, so it's not that disturbing inside this page. All right, so that's it, and in the next video, we will talk about the card widget. So now let's talk about one of my favorite widgets called the card widget. It's like a container, but you already have some sort of rounded corners, and I will show you how it looks like. So first thing first, we will go inside the home page. So right there, we can close everything else. So I will say close all, and I will return inside the home page. And what we'll do is, first thing first, we'll create a padding widget, and inside we'll put an edge set dot symmetric, and the symmetry will be only vertical. So it will be only vertical, the padding. I will put all the commas and save. Okay, inside this padding, we can put a child argument and use a card widget. In this card widget, we will use a single child again, and we would put another padding. And the padding will be again sets.all for this case, and we will put maybe 20.0. I will put again all the commas and save. Okay, so you see that this is our little card, but there is nothing inside. So inside the padding, I will say child, and I will write a text. The text will be, by example, basic layout. This is the first module of this course. All right, so we have this. The next thing we want to do is we want to add more things inside. So we will need to put a column instead. So for the child, I will right click and I will say refactor and wrap with a container, a column. Where it is, column. Right. And we need to do the same thing, but right under. And this will be, by example, the description of this. All right. The last thing we'll need to do is to put some sort of width double.infinity. So can we do it inside the card? No, we can't. So what we'll need to do is we will wrap the card. We'll say refactor, or maybe we can even use the padding, replace this for a container, because the container also have the padding, but the container have the width argument. So we can say double.infinity, and now it's save. So this is our card widget. You can see that it started to look kind of beautiful. So that is why I use a card widget. Next, we will need to put everything on the left side. So we will go inside the column, maybe inside this one, and we will say the main axis or cross-axis alignment dot start. And now we have our text to the side. But there is another thing we need to change, and it's the style of the text. And we will do this in the next video. So that's about it. See you in the next one. Bye. So the next widget I want to show you is the text widget. Let's play with this one and change how it looks. So first thing first, we'll go inside the text and we will use the style argument. This one will take a text style, and inside the text style, you can put a colors.teal. So this will change the